Oh, hi, this is Alex, and I'm going to be talking about shoes today. So, some things that you want to know before you go out and buy yourself a pair of shoes. So, before you go out there and buy yourself a pair of shoes, there's maybe a couple more than this, but a couple things you want to think about. You don't have to do this, but if you really want good shoes, you want to get a gait test to test how different shoes support your feet. So like Under Armour, Nike, Reebok, Adidas, Puma, things like that. You want to think about your terrain you run on. So training, if you're like in the gym, running, like marathons. Are you racing or training? You want lighter for running and durable for training. Or hiking, like big boots, things like that. Okay, so the first blog we're going to talk about is Nike. So this is the Flywire Nike shoe. The cost. Nike's usually one of the higher price range compared to other shoes, but they also put them higher because Nike's the most popular brand, so they price them higher because they know they can get a higher price for it. So I think they go around 75, maybe 70. So the link takes you to Nike's website. So you can search for different things, whatever you want here. So what was their first shoe? Nike's first pair of running shoes was inspired by waffles. That was just right off the bat, bam, waffles. So Nike co-founder Bill Bowerman was having waffles for breakfast one morning, and then it just came into his head that a waffle would make a great track on the sole of the shoe. Bowerman was a track and field coach and been searching for a good light sole. With the waffle sole, that would be great. So a mold inspired Nike's first shoe called the Waffle Trainer, and that came out in 1970. From the Nike swoosh logo. The Nike swoosh was made by Caroline Davidson in 1971. The name Nike is from the god Nike, who sits next to Zeus at Mount Olympus. Nike all started with Phil Knight and its coach Bill Bowerman, a student of the University of Oregon. Phil Knight takes a tour around the world, and then he finds the Onitsuka Tiger shoe from Kobe, Japan. He then started his own company called Blue Ribbon Sports. But then in 1972, the company name was changed to Nike. And that's how we still know them today. Next vlog is Under Armour. So, cost. Nike, here's a picture of some high tops from Under Armour. Cost. Under Armour is not super expensive, but they can be in some cases. They are not as high as Nike, but still higher than other brands of shoes. They are on average $70. So here's a link that takes you to Under Armour's website, just like Nike's. So you can shop for different shoes, new shirts, tech, sports, things like that. So what was their first shoe? I couldn't really find any of the first shoe, but I used the first knitted shoe. So like this outside is knitted, so that was made pretty recently. It was called the Speedform Slingshot. Looks pretty cool. How they started. So they started in 1996 by Kevin Plank of the University of Maryland. He was tired of having to change shirts after football, especially when he had multiple games, back-to-back or just two a day. He named it Under Armour because of some research he did on synthetic fabrics. Set up in his grandmother's basement. Amazingly, 12 months later, he had 24 NFL teams using Under Armour, and many other Division I teams followed. So, for those of you who don't know, Division I is college. So, Reebok. This is the ZigTech shoe. It's just another more normal Reebok shoe. I actually have a ZigTech design on my shoes. Cost. Reebok is also not as expensive as Nike or Under Armour, but it can be expensive in some cases, just like most shoes. They cost around $50 and $55 on average. So this link is just going to take you to Reebok website, just like all the other ones do. You can buy many other things, shirts, shoes, shorts, definitely a bunch of different things on Reebok's website. So, what was their first shoe? In 1979, after Paul Fireman took over the company, he released 3 new shoes in 1979. He started selling them at $60, which was very expensive at the time, and it was in fact the highest running shoes cost. There's a quick pic of them. How they started. Reebok started out by becoming a sister company to someone called J.W. Foster & Sons. Then in 1958, they branched out and decided to make their own company called Reebok. They picked up the name Reeboks because it means African gazelle. They wanted it to be depict seed, style, and grace. Then in 1978-79, at an Chicago International Sneaker Trade Show, Paul Fireman noticed Reebok and thought it had potential to be great. He immediately made deals with them to sell in the U.S. Adidas. So cost. Adidas is not known for running, but they are mainly for soccer shoes. With the cost, Adidas shoes are fairly expensive, but not as bad as Nike or Under Armour. So this was actually a song that they made that started the company too, and Adidas's website, obviously. Adidas now. So their first shoe, Adidas, it's now just Adi Dassler because there were 2 brothers, but one moved away. He created the Samba, which was used in the 1954 World Cup by Germany. They even won over a heavily favored Hungary. That was the original Samba. Adidas was founded by the 2 brothers Adi and Rudolf Dassler. However, it was originally named Dassler Shoes. In 1948, Rudolf left and created Puma instead. Right after, Adi came up with the new name Adidas and the 3 stripes logo. Originally, the 3 stripes was just for balance, not for the logo. Then Adi Dassler passed away and his wife took over. Then she passed away and it went to the son. Then he died and they ran into financial trouble, but Run DMC saved them from utter destruction and took over. And that was this, they even made a song about them called My Adidas. That is this song, My Adidas. So you can listen to that if you want to. So thank you for listening about these different types of shoes and what they are good for, because I think it's important to know what you want and when you need new shoes.